Right then, hello and welcome boys and girls. Looks like Bongo is in the house. Just the announcement on the Discord. To get some more peeps in it. Ahoy, ahoy to everyone that's just come in. Looks like Unrestricted's got the draft already popping, so I will mute the music and we'll get the fun and games. Let the fun and games begin. I want the map picker, so let me just get the right screen up so everyone else can see it. So this is going to be an interesting one. As you may remember, Unrestricted and Bongo were both on a team together for the 2v2 tournament, and although Yeti did quite a lot of subbing for that team when Bongo went on holiday, and they were very, very close to both taking out GL in the 2v2 tournament. But there was just that one game where Bongo slipped up a bit on, I think it was Desert Ridge, and he actually never getting defeated, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure I was the one that cast that. Well, I guess Unrestricted was playing, so it probably was me casting. And I'm interested to see what the map picks are going to be here. Inland, classic AOE1 map. Gold Mountain. And I think Unrestricted does quite like this map quite a lot. I've seen it a few times, but I guess there was the game between KT and, was it Logan the other day, where KT probably should have won that game. Sadly, kind of threw away a little bit. Citadel for TakeawayBongo. Citadel's very frequently played map. Quite a lot of usually is the lower seed player picking Citadel just to sort of give them a bit more chance in the early game. But I think Bongo is fairly confident player in the early game as well. Alliance as well, another Unrestricted favourite. And Ocean Ring, one of my favourite maps, not to play but to watch, because there's always quite interesting games on Ocean Ring. But it's quite a difficult map to play, so I'm not such a huge fan. I've never played it myself, but like I said, I feel like you could do a whole tournament of Ocean Ring and every game would feel unique and different. It's such a strange map. Yeah, it's true. Bongo's not been playing as much RTR, and Sahara is the last map for Unrestricted. Because when we were actually seeding the players, Unrestricted was had his seeds, and he had Yeti and Bongo evenly matched. And I decided to break the tie in your favour because I was like, well, you've just been playing the game way more recently. I can't remember what your seeds ended up being, because there was a few players that we asked to Wait, you were one of the players, right, that submitted a seeding? Maybe I can't remember now. Or was it Bongo? One of the two of you. I mean, our seeding's been pretty accurate for the most part, other than Geo, who performed way above our expectations. But we didn't really know anything about Geo. And unfortunately, he did lose 4-0 to Morik the other day. But I think he was saying he wasn't feeling that well the day. And I think from watching his gameplay, I've seen him play a lot better. So I was a little bit disappointed that he went out like that. Hopefully he comes and plays RTR again at some point. Oops, sorry, I should have gone to the Civ draft. I wasn't paying attention. So double Shang pick, Viat, Unrestricted. Not too surprising with just how strong Viat are in the Gold Mountain. Minoans for, I guess, Ocean Ring. It's probably a pretty good pick there, and Egyptians as well. Oh, it was Red Lash, sorry, not Morik. I do apologise, yet. Who did Morik play then? Was Morik not played yet? Well, you must have already played his round of 24. Sorry, Jesse, I'm sorry. Hittites and Macedonian. and Greeks and Phoenicians. Phoenicians, one of my favourite civs, as I was going on about the last stream. I think I don't know if it's zero mental strength or just lack of experience in the game. Like I said, I think he just wasn't feeling too great on the day either. It was KT against Morag, wasn't it? Yamato. So Unrestricted still liking the Hittites. They're still very strong in the Bronze Age and on sort of the more closed maps, I feel. Carthaginians, and yeah, Unrestricted still quite likes the Carthaginians, although picked quite far down the pecking order here. Persians, just sort of one of the more decent civs on the leftover civs. Romans is still left over, and I know some people have been picking up the Cimmerians a lot more often. I'm trying to just like see what maps we have. There's quite a lot of sort of openish maps chosen. I guess that, yeah, they've got like the early power spike. I think personally I'll probably go Romans just out of the remaining ones here, just because they feel like the most solid civ of the remaining civs. I don't know if Unrestricted's like weighing up. Like, what's he got? I mean, he's got pretty strong civs so far. I think the only thing I'd say is like, did he pick Foe before Mace? Yeah, I think I probably would have picked Phoenicians before Macedonians personally, but Unrestricted does like the extra line of sight you get from Macedonians. And Assyrians, I'm surprised Unrestricted's picked that, as he's not a huge fan of the Civ, but maybe he just figures like on the more open maps. I still feel like you go Romans before Assyrians on basically any map, so that does surprise me a little bit. That. I mean, yeah, Geo, like when he first started playing, I think he was trying to play the game a bit too much like AOE2, and then because I played a few practice games with Geo as well, and he did mostly beat me in those practice games, but like he was doing like really, like he'd forget to get the tool pit, storage pit techs and stuff like that, like armor techs and stuff all the time. Yeah, well, that's the thing. The thing about that is, it's like when you're newer to the game, you should play those games out just to like see what happens. Because like I feel like he's playing as if like in AOE2 when something happens and you just like, because he's obviously more knowledgeable and experienced for that game, he's like, oh well, I've probably lost now, so he resigns. But like, oops. But he's not got like that feel in AOE1 yet. There's been so many games of I think there's been like 3 games of Geo's that I've cast. I'm just like, I don't get why he's resigned here. Like, usually, yeah, he's in not a great spot when he does resign, but he's like far from being out of the game. Well, AOE2 is all like a lot more about getting small little advantages here and there, and it's like it depends on the level of the players as well. Let me just make sure I'm not missing the game. Let me just check, sorry. 1v1, looks like they're just setting up the lobby now. It's because like in AOE2 you can do like men at arms and militia rushes, which are the equivalent of clubbers and axes, but they're like a good drush, which is like the Dark Age rush. A good drush in AOE2 is like, as long as you get some idle time for the villagers, like that's considered a good drush. Whereas like if you get a good Axa rush, you can literally just win the game on the spot. And like a lot of the AOE2 players are really not used to that. So like Like I've said it loads of times, the hardest thing about AOE1 for a lot of AOE2 players especially, but I think just people in general, is just how sharp the early tool age is. Like if you can get over that part of the early tool age, and you start getting walls up and start getting a few more military units out, then it's usually tend to get like a longer tool age and sometimes get the bronze age in. But like in AOE2, it's basically impossible to like win the game at that point. I'm just refreshing AOE2 Rex. I think they might have started the game, but no, they've not launched yet for me. It's not for the faint-hearted. But no, it's been good to see you like so active on the game, Katie, because I think it's like encouraging a lot of other people in the community to keep playing the game more. So it's like really cool to see that. Like, I would play more, but I just like come back from work on an evening and my brain's just like, I can't be bothered. That's like after a full day of work, my brain just can't play AOE1. Let me just refresh AOE2 Rex again, because I feel like they should have started the game by now. Let me just double check the... Just double checking. Alright, Billy. Oh, okay, they're in now. I was getting a little bit restless there. So, interesting. Unrestricted has gone for the Assyrians on Highland here. So he's trying to go a bit of a mismatch with the Shank. Maybe he's just literally just thinking like Assyrians, like I said, he doesn't. I'm pretty sure he doesn't think that highly of the Assyrians. Well, I don't. And I'm pretty sure I've heard him say it as well. So maybe he's just like, I'll use my worst civ against his best civ. And then like, I just have really good civs left for the rest of the draft. So, Unrestricted, I think giving Bongo a pretty big advantage with the civs hit. Assyrian is not the best, Billy. They're really not the best. Good CA. Yeah, they're good if they can get to Bronze Age, but a lot of the time you don't get to Bronze Age. So, yeah, I mean, he could maybe go for fast bronze, but against Shang, I think you're always going to be at disadvantage. Yeah, but like, Shang should be able to punish you in the tool age if you go for fast bronze is the thing. It's just a question of whether or not Unrestricted finds him. We see Bongo going to the centre of the map first, though. Although Unrestricted is going to find at least one elephant. It's a little bit awkward here because these tree spawns. In fact, this is going to be interesting because I don't know if they could like tag over the gold mine. No, they'd just drop aggro, wouldn't they? They should get one elephant hit each hit. Oh, Bongo didn't see it. So Unrestricted does hit the elephant. I'm interested to see how this works. Okay, I think if Unrestricted stayed in the line of sight of this elephant here, he could have kept that going. But I think it probably wouldn't have been worth like waiting for the elephant to come all the way around. And so yeah, it's just going to be, I don't know, I guess only one elephant for Bongo. And yeah, there's nothing on the way back this way. Like that's the thing I've been getting into the habit of doing is like when you send a villager out, you bring it back on a slightly different path to like do a bit more exploration. As I say that, Bongo actually gets back to the path that he's already seen. But okay, there we go. It's got 3 elephants. Very nice for Unrestricted. And we'll see how that pans out. Well, I mean, yeah, it's obviously just an advantage for Unrestricted at this point. Bongo's other elephants a little bit far away. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. You might find his one of his nearby elephants there, though. And Unrestricted does find his gazelle. It's actually a pretty nice spot for a pit there. In fact, yeah, he does put the pit down. So it is a little bit forward, but it's quite nicely getting that gazelle for him there. Like, I guess it's sort of to the side. The forward would be like this part here. Just having a look at the maps now, actually. I was going to say it's sort of like a bit closed off this side, but it's going to be quite hard to like properly wall this quite open space there for Unrestricted. You can see it's very open on this side for Bongo as well, although maybe a little bit easier to. Oh, it looks like he didn't find that elephant. Explorer Villager is currently idle. Where is the elephant? It's a little bit deeper in, so not the unfortunate one tile miss. Just delete the DLC. I mean, all it takes is for someone to ask on the Discord to play a game like KT does, and KT gets games pretty much all the time. It's just the problem is people just don't people go on to the lobbies and they don't see one and they just leave. But like, if people made lobbies instead of just leaving instantly, I mean, the lobby system is kind of messed up a bit as well. And in fact, let's have a look at the game. Oh, 30 seconds idle time from Unrestricted. Bongo, sorry. Yeah, I was getting myself. I guess maybe that was just to do with the elephants, but it's quite rare you get the 30 seconds idle from Shang. And they are actually going up basically exactly the same time on 20 Vils. So this is going to play into the hands of Unrestricted a little bit, because like I was saying, the Syrians tend to be a little bit slower than quite a few civs in the early game. They do have the faster moving Vils, but like that by itself, it's mostly only helps with like early exploration. It doesn't really do much with the resources gathered. It's only a very minor bonus to that. It looks like Unrestricted is trying to go for like the bigger walls. Might be a little bit greedy, but like I said, it was quite hard to cover this whole distance here, so maybe that actually is better looking at it. And first couple of clubbers. Interesting that we're already going into the slinger from Bongo. 2 barracks at home, so that's quite interesting as well. Archery range, obviously. Oh, I guess, yeah, obviously the slingers into the predicting the Assyrian bowman. That's a sensible move. Small wall start coming up. And it should be a pretty easy wall here. Yeah, so he gets that precisely where he needs it. And this might be the case where Unrestricted does just get the chance to go up to Bronze Age fairly freely. Like I was saying, I feel like the Shang should be able to play a bit more aggressive here, but Bongo maybe just sort of like slowly getting himself into the series. But like I said, I feel like the reason Unrestricted picked Assyrians for specifically this map is just because he just sees it as a throwaway civ. So, in my opinion, Bongo should have been trying to push his civ advantage. Wait, what? How? Not a fast civ. They've got like no eco bonus in the early game. And unfortunately, the hunts run out for the villagers there, so they all need to be reassigned. Axes are going to be in here. It's interesting that the archery range went down, but he's not actually using it. He's just gone all in on the axes. I didn't see what all the upgrades that came here. Okay, all upgrades are in. So Bongo is going to win this trade. Fast Vills. Well, that's not what I meant. I meant like economically quick. And I mean, it looks like we're just going to be playing for, I mean, both, yes, Unrestricted is still making axes, but both players look like they're just going to fully wall it. So I can't really see much damage being done in the Tool Age, especially because Unrestricted obviously doesn't get slingers, so he won't be able to break through the walls very easily. And big slinger mass here, which I guess is why Unrestricted is just sticking with the axes for now, which makes sense. There's actually a hole in the wall there. Maybe the axe going through is going to make Unrestricted realise. Yeah, well, he did have... Unrestricted did have the extra help of having like all the extra elephants for that early eco, which also always helps that transition a bit, makes it a little bit more smooth. Bongo only just now getting onto his farms. He's found his berries over here though, so he can just like keep going on those for a while. So it shouldn't actually be too bad for him. Let's have a look at the villager count, and yeah, Bongo is actually up 1 villager at the moment. Although saying that, it's actually about equal. So, oh, okay. So yeah, it looks like Unrestricted lost the villager to an elephant at some point, because he's got that 1 eco KD, that 1 death, and there isn't an eco kill for Bongo. So that's actually the reason why he's down a villager. Just a little slip up there. Hopefully he realises that there's that hole in that wall there. I feel like his axes are going to give it away. It's interesting that he's gone so all in on the axes. And we'll see how this goes. This is the first match of the top 16, yes, Wattle. Takeaway Bongo against Unrestricted. I was going to say Takeaway Restricted, and then I realised that was the name of the team that they were playing as in the 2v2 tournament. This last slinger is actually going to see the axes here. So it'll be interesting. Okay, he does pull the slingers back. The slingers, I think they do have the stone mining in, but with that 1 pierce armor now the axes have an RTR. Slingers not quite as good at dealing with axes. However, the slingers are very, very good at dealing with bowmen, so that guy bites the dust. And it's interesting. Yes, delete the wall, but there is. I'm pretty sure there is a gap here. Maybe there isn't. I thought I saw like an axe walk through there, unless you've just built that bit. I don't know. Maybe I was hallucinating and seeing things. But yeah, both players fully walled now, and they're still making tool units, which is, like I said, quite interesting that they're choosing to do that. Singular Axa goes down just a little bit on his own, but Unrestricted is building up the amount of food he needs to get to the Bronze Age. Let's have a look. Villager count is quite a bit ahead for Bongo now, though. You can see the idle. I guess, yeah, it looks like Unrestricted just idled his TEC to try and get to bronze. See how this engage goes. Axes probably. There we go, trying to get those engaged. Like I said, Slinger's nowhere near as effective against axes in RTR as they used to be in DE. Sitting on this hill would be quite nice, though, if he could just sit there and fight there. Maybe he should have just held his ground there and try and let the hill bonus do its work, but he's doing a good job of kiting though, so that's fair enough as well. So I think that trade, I'm trying to think what the KD, I think it was like 1-4 to Unrestricted, so I guess Unrestricted effectively won that trade, and Bongo feels like he has to go back. And the all-in axes, I guess he's got a single bowman, just sort of chilling at the moment. Woodworking coming as well now, and yeah, Unrestricted quite a long way up to the Bronze Age now, and that's where the Assyrians do come online, as their bonus attack speed increases to 22%, and they get access to their Chariot Archer. And 800 food in the bank now for Takeaway. He does have quite a large villager advantage, so if he can just sort of... He's not build the second building. He's missing this second building. Where's that going to go down? It looks like it's here. And that's a storage bit. Okay, he's trying to quickly build a stable there. Cat's being meowing at me, so I'll just try and let it out of the room. So yeah, it's kind of a question of whether or not Unrestricted can get a big push in before. So you still have to wait for the time for the wheel though, which gives Bongo a chance to get up to the Bronze Age and maybe start making some cavalry with the Yamato attack speed bonus for those. We'll see if that is the unit of choice. He does still have like a decent massive slingers, which can deal reasonably well with the chariot archers in the early Bronze Age, as they now have the 3 base pierce armor, so it doesn't even need bronze shield, and they'll still only take 1 damage. Saying that, the axe is still pressuring on the front there. He's got nearly 500 stone in bank, so maybe like a tower could have come up in defense. And what we've got going down here, another stable. So it looks like it is going to be the cavalry as a response. Wheel does come in now, so the chariot archers can start being massed. And yeah, the artisan ship already coming in as well for the extra range as well. Obviously, is that a single cavalry made by Unrestricted. That's interesting. No, it's made a stable down here. Okay. So yeah, Bongo basically reaches bronze, and he's 2 vills ahead at this point. And like I said, he's going to just start pumping the cavalry, and the chariot archers are only just building up in numbers at this point. So I think Bongo is okay for now. And although that said, 2 TCs already for Unrestricted. So maybe you just he will just quite quickly overtake on the villager numbers. Although no, 2nd TC going up for the 3rd TC, in fact, for Bongo. So yeah, still in a pretty comfortable position. Although now we've got the stone throwers. Oh, that was a bit dodgy. So forward siege workshop. But I think be interesting to see how this goes. I think this is a little bit too much army for Bongo to take on at this point. And oh, he's just let him through the gate. Maybe not the best of ideas. And I think with the support of the stone thrower here, this is going to be pretty difficult for Bongo, because if he doesn't micro, he's just going to take loads of damage here. And I mean, he killed most of the axes, but he lost all his cavalry. He's still got his next wave coming in. Letting that cavalry and axer in is going to be a little bit awkward for him though. Where is his next pump? It's about to come out now. There we go. And he only has the tool upgrades at the moment. And like I said, the count for the chariot archers is slowly building up. And priests, I was going to say maybe some priests would be a good idea from Unrestricted to really close this out, and that is what he adds in there. And it's looking like just the military numbers. Yeah, Bongo sort of tried to just focus all in on the eco, which might come around to bite him in the butt a bit. These stone throwers are going to go down. And I think the first priest should be rolling in pretty soon. There he is, so he's just chilling at the temple at the moment. But yeah, maybe a little bit more focus on the military at the start of the Bronze Age would have helped Bongo out a lot here. As I don't think he's going to have enough units to hold back the number of chariot archers at this point. And yeah, GG from Bongo. Yeah, so yeah, Unrestricted pulls it out 1-0. And it's still a best of 7 for this series. Like I said, I feel like with the Shang, Bongo should probably try to do something a bit more aggressive in the early game. And when he did get to the Bronze Age, maybe a little bit, yeah, like maybe a little bit more focus on the military instead of just going for the full boom. Maybe 4 TCs was a little bit too greedy there. So like you can still see they're like basically even on eco count, but the military number's 19-0, and Unrestricted had all the buildings for ready to sort of deal with the cavalry with the priests and everything. So fairly straightforward. I didn't say they sucked. What's your deal, Billy? Anyway, so on to game 2. And like I said, I think Assyrians was... no, in fact, okay, I'm just going to say the Cirque. I think Assyrians were... Unrestricted were Civ. So he did well to win that. And like I said, I think Bongo should probably maybe have done a little bit more there. And let me just get us back. Capture Age doing the annoying bug again. And let's get back to the draft. So we got the Shang losing. No, we didn't. We did, but not this Shang. How do I get rid of this? There we go. Assyrians winning against the Shang. So that's already a pretty big blow to Bongo. As that's obviously, like I said, Bongo's first Civ against Unrestricted's last pick Civ. So hopefully Bongo can bring it back a bit in the next few games. But that's not a good sign of things to come, unfortunately. Because Unrestricted still has Shang, Lakviat, arguably the two strongest Civs in RTR at the moment. And Ocean Ring is the next map. They've just jumped straight in. And it's going to be Yamato against the Minoans for this one. So let's get us in. Like I said, I quite like specking this map, seeing the good players play this one. It'll be interesting to see how they approach this. So I guess Bongo still probably does have the Civ advantage here, with the Minoans just being the king of the water maps, I think, at the moment. But Yamato still have some pretty nice bonuses themselves on the water. And in the capable hands of Unrestricted, then he could still stand a decent chance of pulling out the dub here. And both players will grab those elephants and get those in straight away, as is the way this map is normally played. And normally the storage pit is the first building that gets placed down, rather than the usual granary on a lot of maps. I'm just sort of trying to scout, see if there's any nice spots. I don't think you can quite fit. I think that wouldn't be the greatest place to put a storage pit anyway. It's like right at the end of the wood line. Maybe just tuck it in with the stone. Sometimes you can get it, like maybe you could put it here and you could get a little bit of access to the shorefish. It's a little bit of a trek for the villagers. Yeah, both places just sort of scouting their islands to begin with, just to figure out what their situation is. And they're actually pretty much exactly opposite each other. Sometimes the spawns on this map can be pretty random, like sometimes if Unrestricted's here, Bongo could like spawn here, or like over here. I've seen some like pretty, well, random, for want of a better word, spawns on this map. And the crossings are quite wide as well, so I don't think they're going to really be able to do any dock block shenanigans. It might have to just be walling off in the tool age when the players reach that. And it'll be interesting to see who goes to the water first. Obviously, Bongo has the cheaper docks and cheaper fishing ships, but the Yamato actually have the faster working fishing ships. So you'd think the the Minoans would be faster to get on the water, but if you can get that fishing economy up for the Yamato, it's going to be very nice for them. You can focus a lot, have most of your villagers focusing wood, and just let your fishing boats gather all that food for you. And we'll see if there is any like early pushing onto the central island. Bongo does try to do, I guess there is some nice closed shore fish there, so it just makes sense to put the dock there as well. And okay, I guess like maybe here would be a decent place for another one with a shore fish there, and then you've got quite good access to the open water fish later on. So yeah, indeed, Bongo is the first to dock, but Unrestricted isn't too far behind. He's a little bit pinched for wood, but you only need 50 wood for a fishing boat, regardless of what civ you are. Well, I guess it's less technically for the Minoans, but it's only 50 for everyone else. And second dock coming up for Bongo as well. Yamato's much stronger in the bronze. They do have quite a lot of nice unit, like they get the more powerful cavalry and the more power. Well, the cheaper to research improved bowmen. Or composite bowmen, so you can go either option, and the cheaper archery ranges and stables helps there as well. A lot of the times this map gets decided by the water though. It's usually like who can get the ship mass, and well, the minnow compies are weaker now. They've only got +1 range instead of +2, so it could be more a question of like who has the bigger mass. But like obviously still a pretty nice advantage for the Minoan compies. No, they don't get the +2 anymore. It's only +1 in Bronze Age, really. We can get +2 from the Marketex, obviously, but the bonus is nerfed in the Bronze Age. It goes to +2 again when you get to the Iron Age, but in Bronze Age it's only +1 now. Let's have a look. 6 fishing ships for Bongo, and only 4 for Unrestricted, but he's only built the 1 dock so far. And Bongo is slightly faster to click. About the same idle time, which suggests to me that, yeah, Restricted is 1 villager ahead. That makes sense. So, but like combined eco, Bongo in a pretty nice spot, as this number here combines the number of vills and their fishing ships. You can see 22 + 8 is indeed 30. That checks out, and it's not going to be any early forward barrack shenanigans or anything like that. In fact, Unrestricted using the barracks is part of his wall there. A bit more of a house wall from from Bongo. Sorry. In fact, this is actually blocked now. Although of course houses not to be relied upon too heavily for the walls. In fact, Bongo doesn't actually have a barracks down yet, which he will need to do. Looks like he's sort of getting ready to do a fast bronze. In fact. Normally you see sort of people try and get to tool reasonably fast on this map so they can get out some scout ships, and in fact, yeah, Bongo is actually going for those scout ships as well. So maybe it's just like not a fast bronze, just like get some control of the water and then just sort of work your way up to bronze behind it. As it's going to be a little while until he has all the wood that you need. Saying that, it's not a million miles off, but I suspect he'll make like a few more ships maybe. And Unrestricted, now on 2 docks, in fact 3rd dock going up. So there is going to be a little bit of fighting on the water. And in fact it looks like it's just going to be the archery range. Doesn't make another wave of ships just yet. I'm just wondering what happened to that wood. Have I missed something here? There we go. Market coming down now. So but just the 3 ships, only against 1 as well. Yamato ships are actually stronger, of course, 1 for 1. But the Minoans should be able to get greater numbers. Oh, no, okay. Unrestricted is already pushed out onto the centre here to get onto the gold. And yeah, both bronze just in for both players. So both players playing a pretty passive game. No real aggression. These scout ships will come round, and Woodworking is coming round in as well. So we might pick up a few fishing ships because there's only 1 scout ship in defence at the moment. And this is going to cripple a reasonable amount of Unrestricted's food economy. As indeed 3 fishing boats go straight down. Which effectively, yeah, like eco numbers 9 behind now. And most of that is of course the fishing ships. Like I said, the Unrestricted is the first to the centre. Sometimes it can be good to get like early sort of outpost set up, and maybe like get some extra town centres and stuff going in the middle, so you don't just get like trapped on your first island and run out of resources. Interesting that Bongo's still got so many of his berries left. I guess it's because he's got all these fishing ships. He doesn't really need to go for the berries. Central dock for Unrestricted as well. This is going to be an interesting one because, like I said, a lot of the times I feel like this game gets decided by tool age aggression on the water, and then it's usually whoever gets first to bronze behind that and gets that war galley upgrade in, and then pins whoever the other opponent to their island. And the numbers for Unrestricted for the scout ships, war galley both in for both players. Wheel not quite in yet for Unrestricted. I guess he was a little bit pinched for resources, going for the artisan ship and war galley upgrade first. And yeah, it's going to be a little pinched for wood to get that wheel just yet. And got quite a lot of war galleys here though, so we could see big engage on the water here. Like I said though, Yamato ships do have the higher HP, so it's not impossible that Unrestricted can pull something off here. This last little ship here is just... I think with the addition of this though, it's probably going to be... I mean, Unrestricted with some decent micro. Probably will be able to pick off this ship, not quite. 5 HP. 10 to 11 now on the ship count. Just a few more fishing ships being built on the water. Fishing boats. I always call them fishing ships, but you know what I mean. Getting the fishing ship upgrade. And artisan ship coming in for TakeawayBongo now as well. Wheel finally coming in. So pretty even state. And like I said, the extra HP on the Yamato ships can make them still quite difficult to deal with. As the number at 13 to 14 at the moment. So Bongo not necessarily levering the Minoan cheaper ship advantage in his favour just yet. I'm talking about the number of war galleys, my friend. But yeah, Bongo does have the extra town centres already set up though, and is probably going to stretch that eco lead. So it's a question of whether or not Unrestricted can push in anytime soon. Feels like it's been a little bit hesitant, and in fact some cavalry coming in as well now on the land. A little bit of a forward villager gets spotted. Cavalry's going to come in, take a couple of vills down here. Still pretty even on the war galley count, but like I said, no real... Oh, here we go, engaging now. And if either of the players gets a big advantage from this, they could have a pretty big swing. Looks like you can see the sort of HP value. Unrestricted needs to get his extra ships involved here. It's a pretty close fight though, so it doesn't look like either player's going to get a huge advantage out of this, because if you can get that and like start pushing onto your player's eco, it can be pretty big. But it looks like with reinforcements coming in quicker, that's going to favour Bongo here. Unrestricted forced to back away. And now improved boat and composite boat coming in. Bongo's going to try and dock the water as well. A few villagers still being just picked off by the cavalry on the land though. So if Unrestricted can switch on to... If he switches his eco onto the gold, I don't know why we're just collecting from this one tree here. I guess the trees here have run out. So maybe the eco needs to be sorted out a little bit from Unrestricted. But I was going to say if he switches onto the gold and gets those cavalry numbers going, maybe he can deal with the early bow mass before those numbers get up. You see the couple of archery ranges built forward. So if Unrestricted can just sit on these, it's going to be a little bit awkward for him. Meanwhile, in the water, still... In fact, slight edge on the water for Unrestricted. But I guess that's partially down that Bongo is starting to think about the land more. Villager numbers 7 ahead for Bongo. I think he still has... Oh no, it's about evened out for the fishing ships. So the eco gap, not massive. Obviously the Minoans have the faster farming bonus, but Bongo's not even switched onto farms yet, so that's not actually come into play. And here we go, the improved bowman mass building up. Compy's nearly on. And now it's only 5 stone throwers already coming in for restricted though, to try and deal with that. Obviously, stone thrower is much more effective at dealing. Ooh, this looks like a bit of a misclick by Unrestricted. Took a lot of damage on his ships, sending him straight through Bongo's there. So in fact, he's probably going to lose. I don't know. Probably, yeah. I would imagine he's going to lose a lot of this if Bongo chooses to chase it down. Pretty big mistake by Unrestricted there. Don't know exactly. Maybe just like right-clicked and just wasn't paying attention at the time. Stone throwers are in at the front though, so it's split attention. Boulder kills 2 of his own cavalry, unfortunately. That's still one of the problems with the stone throwers. And players being forced to micro on both fronts. In fact, Bongo's got himself in the central war there, so it actually would be worth getting a couple of war galleys out in the middle. And he still has the war galley number, but that, you know, unfortunate trade. Bongo definitely getting the favour of that. 19 composite bowmen's in now, and camel riders being switched into by Bongo to deal with the cavalry. And I guess that helps to deal with the siege as well. Stone thrower still coming in. Hopefully Unrestricted doesn't pop that out straight away. Academy coming forward. So we're going to switch into the hoplites. Though I don't know if that's the best option into the composite bowman, personally. Although saying that, he stopped pumping the compies for the time being. Are we going to see an engage in the water here? Whose docks are these? These are Unrestricted's docks. And the hoplites do come out. Strikes me as a curious one. Camels being annoying in the eco hit. And yeah, Unrestricted still, Bongo still has that sort of like 10 eco head lead. Composite bowmen are going to be difficult. Tower's probably going to get denied here if Bongo's paying attention. Lots of villagers going to die. And I think that tower's not going to go up. It's going to lose all the gold miners. Restricted doesn't seem to be paying attention to this specific point on the map. Maybe he's just looking over here. There's quite a lot of action going on. Yeah, tower does get denied. Camels are going to wreak havoc here. Huge amount of damage to the eco. 23 eco kills. Stone thrower going to get boned down. Cavalry is doing some damage to the eco, but nowhere near as much damage as Bongo's doing on this side. And yeah, sort of question the hoplites again. Don't feel like they're really going to be able to do much here. The action's in a lot of different places, and obviously the hoplite's a pretty slow unit. Engage on the water as well. And Unrestricted does have the numbers here, so maybe he can win out this time on the water. There's quite a lot of damaged ships though. HP count's very, very even. Although a lot of that's the fishing ships that I don't know if Bongo's intentionally using that as a distraction, or if they're just idle. You can see they're absorbing a couple of arrows. Unrestricted not getting too distracted. Let's have a look at back here. Compy mass down to 30 villagers. But yeah, Compy mass still. And here we go, yeah, TakeawayBongo was the first to build some war galleys in the middle as well. So he's going to take control of the middle lake. So everything looking fairly Bongo. I mean, I guess Unrestricted did win this fight down here. But every other place looks pretty Bongo favoured at the moment. Score nearly 1,000 ahead at this point. Yeah, 30 vil lead. And Compy's coming in. Trying to mix things up with the ships. So the ships are very high HP for the Yamato 192. So I don't know how effective the Compys are really going to be here. But I guess Bongo just trying to hold the line for now, whilst he gets few more war galleys out and ready. Again, it's been kind of surprising that Unrestricted has been able to keep the numbers up on the water, but I guess it's, like I said, Bongo's just focusing a lot more on the land. You can see it's only the hoplites being built for the land for Unrestricted. And again, I don't really know how much these hoplites have really been able to do. There's just one villager just chilling in the towers there. Now it goes down. A little bit of micro from this ship here. Or maybe it's just running away. I think a lot of the compies are going to get killed here, though. Compies not very effective into the ships, I should say. Just because, like I said, they're just such high HP. Tower push, though, from Unrestricted. Just trying to get a bit more control. Compies at the back coming in, though. But with these towers up, it's going to be a little... I mean, the compies do have one extra range than the towers. But it's going to make it a little bit difficult for them. And then these two towers are going to get denied. Oh, villagers do pop in the TC though. Unrestricted not making villagers anymore, so he's got to the point where he's sort of running a bit thin on resources. These war galleys here, they were still doing a decent job, but you can see war galleys still being pumped from 5 docks from Bongo. So I think in time he should be able to put a stop to this. And I think the momentum from this push is going to be halted, and Bongo is just going to be able to switch back into the land. He's already got 41 composite bowmen, and I think you've got to say at this point, it's definitely Bongo's game to lose. I mean, it doesn't say 0 in AOE, that's literally not true. It does in AOE 1, the AOE 1 scoring is rubbish, but the RTR one's a lot more accurate. It's not everything, obviously, but it's something. But yeah, there's massive compies now. And Unrestricted just hasn't got anything on the land anymore. I mean, he's going to lose a lot of them, again, to the ships. Like I said, I don't really know why Bongo's trying to fight the war galleys with the compies. It seems he's like got about 20 of them killed there. Maybe not as many as 20, but like 10, 15 at least. And now, yeah, war galley numbers in the favour of Bongo. Although I think a few of them are on, or just a single one on the central water. Maybe 3. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure why he's using compies to defend against the ships, but I think the eco is just so far ahead for Bongo that it's probably only a matter of time now. Unrestricted still controlling his war galleys, but that's basically all he has left. He's focusing back on the eco now, but he's so far behind on resources. GG called. There we go. And 1-1. So kind of a bit that engage here. I think, where was it exactly? There we go. I don't know exactly what happened there, but Unrestricted kind of threw away a big number of his war galleys in this moment here. That if he did win this fight, maybe, like I said, he can get inside here and start causing mayhem. But they just get right-clicked in and taking all the free damage as they go through. And yeah, a couple of ships, like 2-3 ships go down before even Unrestricted really notices what's going on there. And then, yeah, I didn't really understand the hoplites here. The hoplites were never going to deal with the composite bowmen. And the eco lead just shone out in the end for Bongo. So well played to him. And we go 1-1. So we've got our series on our hands. Yeah, the addition of the compies is the addition of the camels was really good because it dealt with the stone throwers and the cavalry. So yeah, it was really, yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was a really good read by Bongo there, not to panic against the stone throwers. And Yeah, that one stone throw Unrestricted to dig out kind of did maybe a bit more harm to himself than good. But that is what it is. And then we get ourselves onto game 3 as soon as possible. But I'll just take us back to the draft for the time being. Let's have a look. So we had Ocean Ring, and the Minnows did fight back, winning Bongo his first game against the Yamato. So Unrestricted gets the pick of map now, and again, yeah, hoppies for camels, but like the hoplites were never going to be able to catch up with the camels. Is the thing. Like the camels are just like running around the whole map, and like the maps, the map's too open. The land part of the map's too open for the hoplites to really do anything there. So yeah, Unrestricted's pick of map, like I said, he doesn't have to pick his own maps, but you've got to assume he will do. I don't know if he just goes Gold Mountain and just slams Lakviat just to try and like get himself a confident position back the game. Oh no, it's actually Alliance he's gone for. So let's have a think about what serves Tiger. He's still got the Shang available, so he could still go Shang here. And I guess maybe Phoenicians would be a decent pick for Bongo on Alliance. So we'll see if he goes that. Maybe the Chosen could be a civ as well there. I don't know where else you play the Chosen, so maybe that comes up on an Alliance. An Alliance, you always spawn exactly opposite each other, so it'll be a lot easier to get that early Axa rush in for the Chosen player. Yeah, I think he's quite a big fan of the Gold Mountain. I'm not so big of a fan of it myself, but like the thing is, like it feels like the gold in the middle of the map's like kind of irrelevant in most of the games that get played on it, because like the game feels like the majority of the time it gets decided before. All right, Logan. And yeah, Lakviat, yeah, it's a weird map because it's like Lakviat's just so much stronger than every other civ on it, and then like the gold part of the map doesn't feel like it's relevant in like 9 times out of 10. I mean, yeah, Lakviat is just kind of a bit too overtuned at the moment in general. But they're just like especially stupid on Gold Mountain. And just trying to refresh AOE2 Rex to make sure we don't miss out of any of the action. I think I've not started just yet. But yeah, I'm just trying to think if Unrestricted could really have done much more in that last game. I don't know. It's just like a case of that the Minoans were just too strong in that matchup. Like the Yamato did have some options, but Bongo killing quite a lot of that early fishing eco. Maybe not a lot, but like 3 fishing ships out of his. I think he had about 8 at the time's like a reasonably big deal. As both players just kind of went for a faster Bronze Age strategy. Like I said, I'm more used to seeing longer tool ages on Ocean Ring. But like I said, it's a map of many possibilities. You want to do everything in same time. What do you mean by that, Yay? Oh, right, he was just trying to focus on too many things, you mean? Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, Bongo kind of just did what his plan in stages, and like was like, I'm going to do this, and then this, and then this. Whereas, like say, Restrict would try to do everything at once. So it's like Bongo, he got out those few scout ships, got a little bit of damage in, and then he's like, all right, now I'm going to go bronze, and then started getting the ship mass building up, get the war galleon, get control, try and get some control of the water. Then he started trying to add compies, and then he was like, right, the compies aren't the option just yet, and then he switched into the camels and just tried to focus a bit on the water. And then when he finally got control of that, he could start building up that compy mass again. But yeah, those camels did so much work, like Jesse pointed out. And camels camels feel quite hard to deal with in the early bronze, because like the main counter to camels is ranged units, but the ranged units are quite slow to hit the field because you've got to research into them, and like you can't deal with camels with cavalry. So yeah, camels feel like quite a nice option. I'm just refreshing AOE2 Rex again. I guess RTR's maybe not big enough. Like they probably could do stuff for like make some maps for RTR, but I don't know. There's like enough focus on the game at the moment, so it'd be like a thing that would be cool if we could get some like maybe more balanced maps for tournaments and stuff. But let me just. Oh, I'm not quite out of the last game. That's why it's not loading up. Let me just sort that out again. Oh, capture age, please. I'm switching back to this view whilst I sort things out. This is I've messed things up. You were going back to the title screen. I think they've got a little bit of delay. I think they added in 1 minute delay so that we're not going to be like massively far behind when we do get in. And it is the Shang, and it's actually the Persians from Bongo instead of my predicted Phoenicians. And there is the central elephants on this map again. I don't know if there's the 4 on this map, or if it's just the 2 in the middle on this one. Can't remember actually. I'm only seeing the 2. I think these 2 here are Unrestricted's home ones, which have very strangely spawned right next to each other. I guess it can happen. So yeah, I think it's only the 2 central elephants on this map, unless my eyes deceive me. So not as much of an opportunity to take advantage of the Persian bonus. Obviously, he still has his other 2 at home if he finds those, and his gazelle at the back to take advantage of the bonus there. Unrestricted, just sort of scouting nearby. And sort of reading. Sorry, yeah, I was just sort of trying to read along with the chat there, and then you were actually having some proper serious discussion instead of just flame wars that some people bring. But no, I'll keep that to a hush. Shh. And yeah, so you don't obviously expect the Shang to have the same advantage here. Painting on this map is both good and bad. Like on Alliance, you're always opposite your opponent, so you basically always know where they are. But the other thing is, because you're so close to the edge of the map, it's like a very long distance to cover. So rushes are a little bit slower to pull off, but the villager has gone out early for Unrestricted. Yeah, 100% success, but then it's just like how long it takes, how quick it is the question. It's like I said, you do know exactly more or less where your opponent is. It's just like such a long way to go. That's another reason why scouts are very strong on this map as well. If you can get a decent number of scouts up, it's like quite easily to use their mobility to good effect. And both civs are pretty capable of going scouts as well. He didn't actually finish the house there. I guess maybe just wanted the barracks to go up. And the villager will automatically finish the house now. And double barracks. So this is a strategy I've seen in some of the earlier rounds from Unrestricted, where he pumps the clubbers from 1, and then he clicks Axa upgrade and the other barracks as soon as he hits tool. He's going to be a little bit slower on the second Axa, but 16 vills, so low villager number. but Bongo is probably going to realise at this point that needs to get the barracks up. Although putting it at the back, maybe not the best idea, but I guess that's where his villagers are. Clubbers are going to be in though. Armour upgrade already in as well. Axon not far behind. Not quite the eco to get the attack upgrade in yet. But this Axa rush going to be pretty brutal. Ooh, doesn't quite get that one villager though. And Clubbers are coming in for Bongo. But it's still a little bit away from Tool Age. Obviously, if he can repel this attack, then he's going to be in a pretty nice position economically. The archer range does go up. So, yeah, no villagers actually killed yet. Does this one get caught? Not quite. Bongo's done a good job of just keeping those villagers safe for the time being. Small walls coming in as well, just to protect the wood line. And if you can just get maybe like 2 or 3 bows out, slingers are being switched into by Unrestricted. He's just sticking on that 16 vils, going all in. Sometimes I think about this and like, if you're playing the Shang, do you need to chance doing this? Like I know I said Shang against Assyrians, I felt like Bongo should have gone a lot more aggressive, which is what Unrestricted is doing now. But do you need to risk the 16 vil strategy? Can you still go for like maybe 18, 19 vils and try and do this? And it looks like he's still got the pressure on, and first bow's only just coming out now. Slingers are already in. But like I said, only one. I was going to say none, but actually one eco kill is in now. Slingers are going to be able to harass the villagers a little bit more now, but there's no stone mining, sorry. So it's only going to be very slow. There's no like Axa upgrade, and it's no real food economy. So maybe this still does work from Unrestricted. Like I said, it still has the military numbers to push this in. Just still sticking on that 16 vils. And and Bongo just taps out. I was going to say, where's his food eco? Did actually have it here. But I guess the addition of the slingers after the axes made this a little bit too much to deal with. Because obviously the archery range not going to be much use. And yeah, I guess the very early rush does pay off for Unrestricted there. I was a little bit worried it wasn't going to come out, but he did manage to get enough military numbers. I didn't think he'd have the eco to get that much military, but he really managed to squeeze those resources. And yeah, I guess there was just nothing really that Bongo could have done in the end there. Barracks was a little bit too... I mean, he started building it pretty much as soon as he saw Unrestricted go up to the tool. But obviously just the tech advantage from the Axa and the pit upgrades a bit too much to overcome. In the end, a very nice rush from Unrestricted there, taking advantage of the fact, like we said, that you know exactly where Bongo is knows exactly where Bongo is going to be on this map. So a pretty quick one there. That does mean the Shang is off the table now for both players. But that does leave Unrestricted with the Lakviat for Gold Mountain. So he still has that very strong civ to play. And Bongo's got Egyptians, Greeks, Phoenician, Chosen. Let's have a look at the back on that. So it's interesting. It's interesting when Egyptians and Greeks. Maybe he just chose Greeks to just stop Unrestricted from picking it. Saying that he'd already picked Hittites, which nowadays Hittites feels a little bit like Hittites could be for inland, I guess. I was going to say Hittites feel a bit more like a closed map civ now, that they're not anywhere near as strong in the Tool Age. Yeah, the combination of both Egyptians and Greeks surprises me a little bit, and we'll have a look, see if we can see what map's going to be picked for the next game, as Bongo gets to pick this time. Oops. So I restart capture age for the umpteenth time. Oh, they're already in, so it's Citadel is the map being played. Let me just sort this out. Get us into the game. Yeah, we're just on the delay. So it's Macedonians is... Okay, so Greeks is the choice here. So Egyptians, I guess, being saved for a different map for Bongo. And Macedonians, excuse me, is the choice for Unrestricted. So are we just going to see... Oop, I just tabbed to the wrong screen there. Let's get me on the right screen so I can see. Are we just going to see all-out hoplite warfare? You've got to think that would definitely give the advantage to the Greeks, though, with their much cheaper hoplites and faster. Macedonians obviously having the extra pierce armor on their hoplites, but that's not. Doesn't feel like that's going to be that relevant in this matchup. I don't know if this is just going to be a slinger rush potentially from Unrestricted. 100% compies. Do we even get that far is what I'm thinking though, KT. Though, obviously, Mace don't have any actual eco bonus. So it's not like the strongest early game. Their main strength is the extra line of sight in the early game, but on a map like Citadels where you basically know where everything is, not as valuable a bonus. And I'm just sort of like talking as I look around the base. Not really sure why he felt it was needed to delete that one. That felt a little bit unnecessary. He ruined the nice aesthetic of the wall there. And let's have a look. So they do both have like a very similar kind of map. Arguably, maybe Unrestricted has a little bit more to attack, with more wall being available to attack. I don't know. Maybe it's about fairly even. Just maybe slightly more for Unrestricted. Just gives you a little bit more options to like poke through. Though most of the time, 9 times out of 10, most people go through the gates as their normally weak point. And like I said, it'll be interesting to see if we get any shenanigans. A bit of idle time already for Bongo. Basically already putting a villager behind. Excuse me. Greeks do get the faster TC starting in the tool age, so they can potentially catch back up later. Obviously, you want to try and keep that time as close to 0 as possible. And yeah, just a little gazelle push for both players. A little bit awkward with the lumberjacks there. And just having a look, I guess I was going to say if there's any nice pits where you could get like a double resource, you could maybe go on the gold there, but I think probably better just to go deeper into your wood on that side, so I'm fine with that. Maybe pit just goes up like in the right here somewhere, maybe probably here, so it's just a little bit safer. Could probably range it from that. And no shenanigans afoot just as of yet. Still just making villagers. But it will be interesting to see if this stops at 20 and then we start seeing some idle time. Another 2 villagers added to the queue, so it looks like it is going to be a Bronze Age from Unrestricted, unless Bongo decides to flip the script here. Nope, never mind. 5 villagers in the queue. I think, okay, just fast Bronze Ages all around. And maybe we do see the composite bowman as the unit of choice from the Macedonians, as KT pointed out. Okay, storage pit right at the back here. I'm kind of a little bit surprised didn't like tuck it all the way in the corner there, but is what it is. And for now we wait. 5 villagers in queue. I think one of those got cancelled. So 25 vills is a reasonably high number of vills for a regular bronze, fast bronze. Like I said, essentially a 1 vill advantage already for Unrestricted just because of that idle time. And Unrestricted on the food. And his click tool just needs to wait for that villager to finish as that circle fills up. And away it goes. And yeah, just very slightly behind, similar situation. So 15-second difference, so 3/4 of a villager if you like. Not quite a whole one, but a reasonable advantage already in the early game from Restricted. It should be very slight number of resources more collected. Barracks goes up, blocking the gate. Pretty usual stuff. The Daring Granary. It's always interesting to see if people go for these or not, because sometimes they do it and they just do it too late. I prefer doing it this way round, where you try to go for this berries, get as many of those as you can, and then you've got your one on the inside that you can grab later. So I prefer to do it, because I've seen some players go this granary, and then try to do this as the third. But I think this is the correct play, where you try to grab those berries like before any actual action happens. Saying that, these barriers are pretty close to the wall, which is a little bit unfortunate. So maybe like a defensive tower or something might be needed in the future to try and prevent any future, maybe like chariot archers. Well, chariots can't be a thing because obviously it's Greeks, so that's not going to be a problem. In fact, Greeks in general, very bad archery range, so you probably won't see any actual archers. And now we'll see as Unrestricted. Okay, he's already built one. I was going to say maybe a little bit short on wood, but he'd already started the foundations of one of the buildings. And actually quite a lot of resources in the bank for Bongo. So despite being a villager down, it seems to actually be ahead on resources. Both buildings go down, click comes in, and at the end of the day, there we go. So yeah, still just that one villager advantage for Unrestricted. I'm going to check the resources collected because I'm a little bit surprised by that. So interesting. So they use like 100 ahead. Okay, I guess the scout's coming out as well. Maybe that was the difference. Just felt like Bongo had more resources for a second there, and I was really confused. Scout out for both players. So yeah, that actually, interesting. And KT, and because of that, I was maybe predicting the compy play. But maybe it's just some early cavalry as he went for the stable instead of the archery range. I don't know, sometimes I've heard Unrestricted saying about just getting the early scout out. So maybe he just adds in an archery range or two later on. For the moment, both players just having a look around with the scout. And the scouts are chilling at the back of the base for Bongo at the moment. And to working coming in for Unrestricted. So is it just going to be cavalry for Unrestricted hit? Wheel coming in straight away. Is it going to be a government centre as well? Yep, government centre at the back. Wheel comes in. Is that government centre as well? Yep, so players going like for like at the moment. And yeah, a couple of cavalry coming in. That does surprise me a little bit. Because cavalry, when there's fully walled, the effectiveness of the cavalry is somewhat diminished. You've got to like try and break through that wall for the cavalry to have much effect. Second TC already coming up. Unrestricted having a little ship at the wall. And it looks like we're going for a long one, boys and girls. Compies dies to Greek hoppies. Yeah, I mean, that is... They're very fast hoplites. They're very tricky. I feel like if you could get a good mass of compies, you'd be alright, but it is tricky. And the cavalry just hacking away at the wall at the moment. This kind of feels like Bongo could maybe just like build... He's going into the academy already, but he could maybe just add like a single temple to like the Greeks get the free, I think it's astrology and whatever the other tech is off. I can't remember off the top of my head. So just like maybe a priest or two just to dissuade the cavalry. Saying that it's only one. I thought he had two in queue, but he cancelled. So maybe that would be an overreaction. just stick to the hoplites instead. I don't know if this was like a bait, just like to try and trick Bongo into thinking he was doing something else. And it is going to be improved composite bowman. And so it's going to be the tricky situation. Oh, did he cancel that or did it finish? I didn't see. I like took my eye off it and then I couldn't remember what time it was at. Well, artisanship's still coming in either way. And Scout's knocking on the door. There's a short swordsman in the queue there for a second. I don't know if Unrestricted is just like not sure what to do now. Like I said, Macedonian not very regularly played Civ on this map. And hoplites do come out. Oh, I did cancel it, so improved bowman is coming in again. So it was not my eyes deceiving me. But the hoplites, I mean, still only one academy. It's mostly just a focus on the eco. 4th TC coming up for Yeti. Feels like Yeti's been a little bit better with the boom in this series so far. The Greeks obviously helped out with a faster TC. Speed. And he's already got a slight eco lead. Sorry, Bongo. God, I don't know. You're not in the game, dude. I've decided you're playing. But yeah, he's going to have to get, like I said, he needs a good mass of bows to deal with the hoplites. But again, there's only 2 hoplites on the field for the time being. Scout's probably going to get picked off now. Oh, the actual range out in the open, that feels a little bit sloppy. He needs to delete that before the hoplites kill it. There we go, deletes it. Archer ranges in the base, I feel like that's a much more sensible option. And it's got a lot of wood though, is the thing. Okay, starts getting the farms up. And it's just a house, urbanization, very nice upgrade. I'm going to double this. Well, not exactly double it, because it doesn't double the population of town centres, it only doubles the population of houses. The composite bowman is coming in now. A mod Elephantos, maybe if the game reaches that far. But it is the KT called composite bowman. It's still only a... Oh no, double academy now. More academies are coming up now. But he's only making hoppies from the one academy still, which is what threw me there. And we're still sort of just building into this game. Armored Elephant does take quite a long time to get into though, and if he's got a good number of hoppies, you can just go into Phalangite, and that's a pretty nice power spike as soon as the Greeks hit iron. But I think it still could go either way. Like I said, at the moment the compy's only at 6, but we're pumping from 5 archery ranges at the time being. So I think it's just going to be a question of numbers. Siege Workshop's out now as well. It feels a little bit too early for the Siege Workshops for me. Just because, like I said, I feel like these compy numbers need to get up before thinking about pushing in, really. And Bronze Shield very wisely being researched by Bongo here. And yeah, like I said, stone throwers feel like to me they're going to be a bit vulnerable to the very speedy Greek hoppies, but I could be wrong. Academies. So yeah, I don't know. Like the Macedonians do get all the upgrades, but like I feel like you don't want to play Hoppy into Hoppy against Greek unless you're like maybe Carthaginian. And these companies here are going to get a little bit caught out. Yes, like I said, I think it's a little bit too early for the stone throwers, and I'm not really sure about the hoplites. Compy numbers still are coming up though, so that was the main objective here. I was saying that 121 villagers to 92. I've just realised, pretty big eco league lead for Bongo. And Hoppy numbers 15 at the moment. So maybe the mass of compies is big enough. There's well, nearly 9 academies now. I was going to say as Bongo is a little bit slow to get the Bongo numbers. Bongo's really slow to get the Hoppy numbers up, and it's now like pretty far behind. Again, I'm not sure about these hoplites. I guess maybe just to give himself a bit more front line for his currently just full ranged army. So maybe that could work out for him there. But like with Bongo having a much stronger eco at this point, I mean obviously Unrestricted doesn't 100% know that he's behind on eco. But it feels like he's like pushing his resources, spreading him a bit thin. 2,000 wood just in bank though for Bongo, so maybe that extra eco not really being put to the best of use. No real micro from Unrestricted. Feels like he's just controlling the stone throwers, and in doing so is sacrificing a lot of the bowmen. And, like I said, I'm not really sure these. They said it's 5 kills now is apparently the score. It's a nice little choke though there for Unrestricted. And he's still 15 compies in queue, so they are still pumping. Doesn't have the toolpit. Oh, actually, no Bronze Age toolpit upgrades from Bongo. Feels like a little bit of a mistake. Quite a bit of value lost from each of these hoplites there. This 3,000 wood though needs balancing. It feels like Bongo's just pumping vills and not really focusing. He's just got waypointed to wood. He needs to get like a lot of that, maybe switch just into farms just to get the food going. I guess another point is that neither of these civs get chariots, so once gold runs out, Iron Age actually first in for Unrestricted. So after I've said the eco should be in favour of Bongo, it's like I said though, it's just a lot of wasted time just collecting wood that's just never going to get used here. Some stone throwers do come out in defence, so maybe some of that wood does get used. Hoplites are sort of in though, surrounding. See if they can get a decent engage here. Hoplites are, like I said, forming that sort of like meat shield for the compies though. And like I said, the Bronze Age techs still... Oh, okay, he's got the armour in to be fair, but that armour's not going to do anything against the composite bowman. And metalworking now coming in, so he now does have those techs. And 1,500 wood sold there, just to try and balance out that eco. You can see all the academy is still pumping these hoplites. We're just still going hoplite on hoplite, which feels like it can only favour the Greeks in the long run, but Macedonians are up to the Iron Age now. See, Phalangite is the first option. So he's really just going to try and crush this out with the Macedonian academy, despite the fact that the Greeks have the advantage of obviously much cheaper. This has been interesting because 170 villages now for Bongo, but he's just not managed to convert that into any military advantage. And I doubted the hoplites, but it just looks like the combination of the compies and the hoplites is worked out for Bongo now. Sorry, for Unrestricted now. In fact, he's just completely stopped making the compies. As he's just fully focusing on the academy now. And Iron Age is coming in for Bongo. Be interesting to see if Bongo maybe goes for some ballista, but if Unrestricted still has stone throwers on the field, that's a little bit awkward. so maybe that doesn't happen. And yeah, just like I said, I guess just a little bit too slow getting to those hoplites. Just focused on the eco, and yeah, still 5,000 wood. And like, yeah, so in fact, yeah, 51 to 45. So less villagers for Unrestricted, but he has the villagers working where they need to. Coinage coming as well now, very important tech, because it adds in that extra effect of the gold mines lasting a little bit longer. You can just see how many academies are pumping hoplites, but the hoplite at this point it's just strictly inferior to the phalangite. Aristocracy coming in, and you've got to think that he's going to try and cancel this from one academy to get the phalangite upgrade in. There we go. Iron shield as well. I think the number of phalangites from Unrestricted is just a bit too much to deal with at this point, though. And like I said, I questioned the academies from Unrestricted, but he really went all in on it. And I guess the composite bowman just did enough damage in the early to mid Bronze Age for the hoplites and the phalangite to take over. And it looks like Bongo just trying to wait for these upgrades all to come in. The other thing is that Greeks don't get metallurgy in the Iron Age. Although I don't think Unrestricted actually has that himself yet. Oh no, he does, actually. And GG's called, wow. Never ever been more wrong about an academy play. And yeah, just 10k wood. Just 10k wood. Like Bongo had such a huge advantage of the economy, but just all 12,000 wood ahead. So you can see here, the difference overall was 8k, but 12k of that was just wood. And that's just not efficient use of the villagers when the main unit is spamming as hoplites. Like you can see for food and gold, Unrestricted to collect more. And yeah, I guess, I don't know, Bongo was just like, I need to build villagers, but he was, I guess, maybe focusing on the fights in the middle and not like actually properly sorting out his eco. And even though Unrestricted was much, in fact, let's have a look again. See what the villager count was, excuse me. How do I check that, in fact? Society, perhaps? What is this graph? That's world population. My brain can't figure out graphs, unfortunately. There's got to be one that's like villager count. Well, maybe we'll figure that out for another time. But like, I feel like Unrestricted was like about 80, 90 villagers when Bongo was at like about 120, 130, 140. And you can see he finished on, well, at max, he had nearly 50 more. But yeah, just 10k wood just floating, doing nothing essentially. And that brings us to match point. And Unrestricted still has the Latvia in pocket. So in a very strong position for himself. As I will take us back to the draft. So it was a Macedonian win. Like I said, slightly unusual pick for the whatever the map's called, Citadel. But it worked out for Unrestricted in the end there. And inland is Bongo's only leftover map. He doesn't have to pick it, but you normally pick your own maps for a reason, so you've got to suspect that he will go there. And what options does he have? I guess Phoenicians would be my go-to there, but Unrestricted has the Hittite and the Latvia, both quite nice civs there. you think he's just going to go calf? Maybe. I mean, Unrestricted been doing a lot of things that I wouldn't personally do myself, but obviously he's a much better player than I am. Sees the game differently from all us noobs. I don't know. So yeah, 3-1 for Unrestricted. And Bongo's, like I said, he's been pretty on top of getting that, like, the villager pump going in most of the games. Well, that's, I guess the other thing is, yeah, Bongo's just not been playing RTR as much. A little bit out of practice. Like, obviously, maps like Citadels and stuff like that aren't even in DE. And looks like, oh no, they've not picked the map yet. Let me just refresh. AOE2 Rex. DS one map. True, dude. So yeah, just wait, and maybe just Bongo just taking a little break. Taking a few moments to collect himself. I think, actually, let me just double check. But I think the next, if you win this game, you're into the money paying positions. Yeah, top 8. I mean, it's not a massive amount, $32.50 if you reach the top 8, but it's better than a kick in the teeth, as they say. So the money is up for grabs for the winner of this, all the players in this current round. And the first place current prize pool sits at $227.50. Not too bad. Buy yourselves a few copies of RTR with that. And let me just double check again. I'm not just... Okay, the game has just started. And we're 1 minute behind. So I should be able to get in without the spectator delay, I think. I'm not quite out of the game again because I'm an idiot. Capture Age is doing the bug again because it's silly. Alright, we'll try that again. Yes, and in we go. Or not, as the case may be. Okay, for some reason my game took like a little while to actually start up there. And it is indeed the Phoenicians, and it is the Carthaginians from Unrestricted. So, looks like, yeah, he's calling it correctly this time. And a very nice storage pit start for Unrestricted here. Very nice efficiency on the box turtles there. You love to see that. And just the standard granary start. Actually, Bongo's quite a long way from the water. So, yeah, it's not the greatest start for him, as he doesn't have as immediate access to those little turtles. This would be quite a nice dock spot, though. There's quite a lot of nearby. There's absolutely loads of stuff in this pond. Jam-packed full of goodies, that. There's quite a lot in this one, actually, as well. And another interesting inland spawn, though. Always very different. And granary already coming up as well. For Unrestricted, obviously, Carthaginians with the extra 50 of each resource at the start always makes their start of the game very, very nice. And having 5 villagers fishing, it's going to be very nice food eco. And 0 idle time from Unrestricted as well, so you've like literally found that instantly at the start. Had the food to keep the villagers pumping straight away. Again, with an extra 50 starting food for Karth, makes that much easier. As the idle time slips a little bit away for Bongo, and effectively puts him 1 villager behind already. And is this a pit here? Okay, so he does pit on the turtles there. So he's going to be able to take advantage of that himself, but it's a little bit behind, Unrestricted in doing so. So you've got to imagine, let's have a quick look. Oh wow, 200 resource advantage already. I don't know if that counts. I don't 100% know if that counts the starting resources Karth get, because that feels like way too big otherwise. 300 resources already? That's crazy. I feel like that's got to count the extra starting resources that the Karth get. Barracks forward though for Unrestricted. It's a little bit out of the way, not a million miles off. But it's in a position where it's probably safe from being spotted early at least, is what you can say about that. Idle time starting to creep up as Unrestricted just waits for the food to come in, and Click does come in. And 20 vills as well, but like I said, Bongo was essentially a vill behind on idle time. See how quickly he can click. He's gonna okay. So yes, basically a vill behind. What was that attack from? All those villagers switched to wood. Oh, it's just the Croc there attacking the vill. That's what that was. And clubbers are coming in. So is this going to be the patented double barracks? And it is. So now it's just going to be a question of how quickly Unrestricted finds Bongo when he has, like I said, he's got 20-second advantage just for getting to the tool age. Barracks does come in now, but two clubmen already in the barracks. Carthaginians are one of the best civs at just switching to the slingers as well, because of they just have all the extra stone, so they don't even have to gather stone for ages, and they can still just keep pumping slingers forever. Tool working first, not my favourite, but Unrestricted decides he wants some extra punch before the armour. Tool age, like I said, just narrowly slower. Small wall coming in. I think Bongo has he sees where he needs to wall, but I don't think he's going to have time. So they're just going to get caught out here. And now, can this villager run away? Axe are in, slaps that villager in the spine. And it's this archery range. We've seen this rodeo before. It's going to try and wall in his villagers here. That'd be quite nice for him if he can get that done. Don't think Unrestricted saw that. Archery range. Is he going to get denied? Oh my god. Just needs literally one more hit. Okay, there we go. But like I said, we have seen this before. And the bows could be very easily counted if just a handful of slingers are made here. And there we go. 4 in the barracks. And doctors go up. So Bongo does have quite a lot of his eco safe. But this time, unlike the Shang game, Unrestricted has a lot more eco behind this one. And no Axer upgrade. Does have both the pit upgrades for the clubbers, at the very least. But first wave of slingers already coming. Bongo can maybe deal with these axes now. The clubbers don't have the pierce armor though, is the thing. So the clubbers much more susceptible to the slingers. And also an archery range there. Somehow I hadn't even noticed that. I was literally like looking right at it. And so bows are also getting in from Restricted. And it's all in aggression in the tool age. But he's still adding the villagers in behind though. So it's a measured aggression. And 4 fishing ships already. And even if this does get stopped by Bongo at this point, it feels like Unrestricted is just going to have a massive eco lead. Psycho aggression. I mean, this feels much more measured. Like he's building up the eco behind it. It's in a very strong position now. Like I said, even if this gets dealt with, you've got to think that Unrestricted has maybe already wrapped this series up. And yeah, Bongo, maybe like people are saying, a bit of a meme, but maybe he has just been away from RTR a little bit too long. Needs to come back into the fold. And just focusing, he's got 5 bows. Axer upgrade finally coming in. I mean, these 6 fishing ships are going to keep Bongo going for a little while. Like I said, a lot of his eco is safe. Just trying to find the rest of his eco, actually. That's not all of it, is it? 19 vils. That's not 19 there. Am I? I guess they're in the TC, of course they are. Bow's getting a decent amount of damage now, though. Slinger's a little bit out, misplaced it. Yeah, it's the 5 slingers, but there's the 4 of them are there. And with the Axer upgrade in now, maybe he can push the slingers back, but as I was saying, 29 vils and 9 fishing ships behind this. I don't think stone mining's in either. Although woodworking isn't. Obviously, plus 4 bonus damage from the slingers to the bows, I think, these days. I think it is. And nothing in the queue for Bongo. And as I said, still just like adding in eco behind this, Unrestricted in a very comfortable position. Maybe sat in a little bit too much wood there. Maybe needs to start getting the farmer's place down. I guess he could just keep going with the fishing ships. That works too. Let's have a look. Slingers still harassing. I don't know how. Did all the boners just get killed? It looks like all of Bongo's army just got killed as I was checking out. And yeah, GG, well played. And that is the 4-1. I guess I'll do a little rewind at the end just to see what happened to that last little fight there. So, yeah. I mean, the slingers weren't even here still. Slingers were still over there. And I guess there was a singular slinger there. It's a very convincing trade for Unrestricted, and like I said, just had the eco behind this. And that was only going to go one way in the end. Pretty one-sided game, and well played by Unrestricted. Like I said, he did have this nice little pocket here, but Unrestricted finally getting that very nice storage pit right at the very start of the game. Really helped accelerate his early game there, as well as obviously Calf being quite strong in the very early game if you can take advantage of those extra resources, which Unrestricted definitely did. And yeah, GG's Unrestricted. Well played. You're now in the money positions. And yeah, 4-1 to Unrestricted in the end. Didn't even need to bring out the Lakviat in the end. And so yeah, Gold Mountain will have to stay in the playbook for another day. Yeah, no, yeah, I'm just saying you didn't even need to use it, and you still managed to pull out the win. So yeah, pretty convincing games in the end. It was only really the Ocean Ring game where Bongo had the Minoans, which is always going to be an uphill battle on those maps where the water is very important. And there was that bit where, like I said, Unrestricted sort of misplayed sending his war galleys in and like got quite a few of them killed before he noticed, I think. And Bongo did have like that huge villager lead on citadels, but just didn't have the villagers gathering the correct resources. I mean, you weren't 250 pop the whole game. You were 250 pop at the end of the game. Like all the way from the start of bronze onwards, he was ahead on Vils. But like, I mean, I can maybe show you. What would be the best way of showing you this? In fact, I probably can watch the VOD of this stream if it uploads instantly. I'm not sure actually.
Moth in, even though Moth sucks.
Be quiet. Be quiet, you. Let me just try and find. Oh, I'm listening to myself now. Oh, here we go. I guess you could just keep going with the fishing ships. That so I'll now mute myself, so I'm not. Let's have a look. See if I can find it. Right at the very end, so it's probably going to be pretty far on. Oh yeah, here we go. So he's got, Bongo had 29,000 wood collected, and at the end of the game, that's not quite the end. Was that the end of the game there? He had like 10k wood. It was like, yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, the other thing was, it's like he spent all of the Bronze Age just like making units and no, sorry, all the Bronze Age making villagers, and like he barely started hoplite production until like way later on. So by the time he like was really getting the hoppies going, you just had way more composites, and it was just like at that point he was just always going to struggle. But yeah, so it's just slight mismanagement of the economy there. But anyways, that brings us. Yeah, well, it's like, what can he really do at the end there? Yeah, I mean, if you maybe if he added the stone throwers in earlier, maybe that can work, but it's hard to say. I guess we can finish off by looking at the brackets and the schedule for the upcoming games. So that means obviously Unrestricted Advance is on, and so he will play whoever wins out of Doubt and Redlash. I don't think this has been. Oh no, okay. Resident Liquipedia man has already updated. So we've got Vertex against Genie tomorrow, and I think Unrestricted is going to be streaming that himself. So that should be pretty fun. Genie's been playing some pretty good games, so we'll see how well he can do up against Vertex, though. Obviously, Vertex pretty strong player, so Genie's got his work cut out. But Genie, like I said, has been playing pretty solidly so far this tournament, so maybe he can get a few games, maybe cause an upset, we'll see. And then we've got ACCM against Scarbe. I think this is on, unfortunately, some silly time in the morning that I'm not going to be able to watch it myself. I think Mini Yeti might be casting this game. And then we got Cool versus Morik in 4 days' time. And in 5 days' time, we've got Say My Name against Mini Yeti. So we've got kind of a nice spread of games this week. Last week, it was like a lot of them ended up being on the weekend. So, you never know. Yeah, you might be able to pull some games out. But yeah, he's been playing a lot of RTR recently. And so I guess that just leaves the Doubt and Redlash game and the Tattoo and Nightmare game to be scheduled. So just the GL players. And yeah, we'll have some more games for you coming up in the week. So I guess I'll do my look around to see if there's anyone to host, as I need to get off because I actually need to eat because I didn't have time to eat before after I came home from work before doing the stream. Is that a Jesse strat? You've been discussing strats with him. Let me just try and. Oh, right. Well, I remember that time in the 2v2 tournament where I think it was one of the KGB players tried to do it and it just like didn't work at all. In fact, was that against you guys? I can't remember now. It's a long ass time ago. What am I trying to do here? I'm trying to find someone to host is what I'm trying to do. Don't know if we have any RTR gamers online though. Let me see. Search for Return of Rome. See if that comes up with anything. Just me, sadly. What about RTR? No. I don't ever want to host RTR Boss. I don't know what game he's playing. Looks like League of Legends. Who are we going to host? I guess it's going to have to be a DE player, as much as it pains me. Well, it's not. I guess Boozer's online. Do we host Boozer? Give our old boy Boozer a host. Or do I send you somewhere else? Oh, Sling's streaming. Oh, cool. I'll host our boy Sling then. He's got face cam and everything. He is playing AOE2, but we'll give Sling a shout out for playing some RTR. Yeah, no worries. I hope you guys all enjoyed the cast, and we'll see you in the next one. And as I'm going to host Lord Sling, ask him to come back and play some RTR when he gets the chance. And I'll see you guys. I can't spell words. Lord R. That's what I'm trying to do. Ah, my brain. This is my brain just to stop working. There we go. Alrighty. And start raid. I think it does a little cooldown. And yeah, thanks again everyone for watching, and I'll see you all another time.